How regularly do you spend time improving your business, learning new things for the business, developing and improving yourself and your business? Or do you just rely on knowing enough, having learnt enough? Well, it's about time you be more sponge. Welcome aboard, folks, to the Annoyingly Optimistic Show, the go-to destination for the savviest entrepreneurs and business owners who crave a heady concoction of knowledge, inspiration, and a sprinkling of humour. I'm your host, Paul and Skip, here to accompany you on this exhilarating journey through the world of business. Together, we'll venture into the fascinating realm of ideas, unravel the mysteries of success, and equip you with hands-on strategies to worry less, make more, and be brilliant. I'd love to hear from you, so please reach out, comment, or message me to share how you've been helped, inspired, or simply got a fresh outlook. Let's embark on this annoyingly optimistic adventure together. And remember, worry less, make more, and be brilliant. Unleash your absorbent side. Have you ever gazed at a sponge in sheer amazement? No, probably not. Well, brace yourselves because you're about to get absorbent and dive into a sponge of wisdom. And we're going to squeeze out every last drop about how to be a success. Now, it has been said I do love a good chat. This is coming from the man that has 2 podcast shows and a whopping 1,000 plus Zoom calls and webinars. Shocked? You wouldn't be. But before I digress into a rambling soliloquy, let me add that my favourite conversations revolve around the things that fuel my spirit, and hopefully yours too. This usually involves books, the cornerstones of our Sponge-isms. But my cherished list of books, my go-to fonts of wisdom, is an ever-expanding tapestry. But before we dive into the nitty-gritty of this bibliophilic journey, let's take a moment to appreciate the beauty of our sponge metaphor. Now, remember those formative years that laid the foundation of our lives. We learn like sponges, soaking up knowledge at breakneck speed. Then somehow we hit a roadblock. We came to view learning as a phase, not a lifelong pursuit. Our half-hearted jests of "every day's a school day" became nothing more than verbal garnish, instead of a profound metaphor for constant learning. So where does the glorious sponge fit in? Well, simply put, a sponge is a porous object primed for absorbing liquids. Biologically, it's a complex multicellular marine creature with a permeable body, perfect for filtering water and feeding on nutrients. Now, a sponge soaks up, filters, grows, and uses what it absorbs to thrive, be it nutrients and oxygen for a sea sponge or ideas and concepts for a business. The fatal flaw is when we fail to embody the sponge in our own business approach. When we cease to absorb, filter, and grow, we're scripting our own downfall. Our businesses, like us, embark on a rapid journey of growth, the formative phase, then the adolescent phase, and then, well, just as we're revving up, we pull the brakes. We convince ourselves we've learnt enough, and thus our journey of learning grinds to a halt. We stagnate, and worst of all, we cease to grow. Now, each successful individual I've had the honour to collaborate with or support raves about their learning curve, their hard-earned lessons, the cherished pearls of wisdom, and the hunger to learn. For years, I was an island, a hermit crab, if you will. I turned a blind eye to external help, scoffed at books and training. All that fluff, I know my business. If I could turn back the clock, that's the one thing I'd change. If only I'd embraced the sponge earlier. Who knows where I'd be today? This is why I'm that persistent bloke that always raving about certain books. The insights I glean from them not only enrich my life, but also empower others. Although I recently declared that my spirit animal was a squirrel, perhaps a sponge would have been more fitting, though squirrels have a bit more flair. Now, the grand illusion of the educated graduate, a tale as old as time. Once you cross the stage in your cap and gown, education is over. Ding! Time's up. Foolish. This is perhaps the most tragic misconception in the history of misconceptions. And believe me, there's some tough competition. We could almost use a cultural renaissance, a seismic shift where lifelong learning is as trendy as avocado toast or dog memes. But let's face reality. That's about as likely as pigs piloting planes. Our hearts lust after the magical bean that sprouts success overnight. The thought of learning forever feels like a never-ending detention, when in truth, it's the ticket to Wonderland. In all our endeavours, we cannot teleport beyond the walls of our knowledge and experience. No amount of willpower will conjure wisdom out of thin air. Our minds aren't magic wands, alas. We must absorb, learn, and experience. And not just any haphazard more, but the right, splendidly rich more. We must marinate in the lessons, ideas, and concepts swirling around us, like tea leaves steeping in hot water. So we need to embark on a lifelong quest with glee, not as if we're pushing a boulder uphill, but as a veritable sponge connoisseur, relishing every drop of knowledge that comes our way. Now, for me, there's nothing quite like the thrill of birthing a podcast episode. It's a bit like being a mad scientist, taking a spark of an idea and morphing it into a tangible, spine-tinkling, cerebrum-stirring creature. At least that's the dream. As I dance through the steps of preparing, planning, and recording, I always imagine serenading a single listener, a familiar face or a colleague of yore. They remain my unnamed muse, the recipient of my musings and my poorly disguised chortles at my own jokes. I know it's pitiful, but someone's got to enjoy them. By zeroing in on this individual, I'm embodying the spirit of our squishy, absorbent hero. You see, I'm not just creating a podcast, I'm living the sponge life. This isn't about just soaking up knowledge and experience. It's about filtering it, wringing out the nuggets of wisdom and transforming them into a delectable brain food smoothie, digestible, stimulating, and perfect for a hearty intellectual feast. That's why when I was thinking about being a sponge, I couldn't resist having fun with the aspects of sponge that could help you to be more sponge. Now, the term sponge can also be metaphorically used to describe the ability for a business, for you, to absorb and integrate new information, experiences, and knowledge. So are you ready to be more sponge? So, sponge. S. Soak up information. Just like a sponge absorbs water, you need to be eager to soak up new knowledge. Trends, customer preferences. This includes industry trends, customer preferences, feedback, and any information that you could be beneficial. Books, podcasts, articles. But you need to make this a systematic, everyday thing. Now, before you utter, I don't have the time. The average reading speed is 183 words per minute. The average business book is about 260 words per page. So if you read 10 pages a day, it would need a commitment of 14 minutes and 12 seconds. Do that, and you'll read 18 books a year. You do have time. P is for pliability and adaptability. A sponge is pliable and can change its shape easily. Similarly, you need to possess the ability to adapt and change approaches according to the ever-changing demands of the market and your customers. You need to use knowledge, ideas, and actively question them, interrogate them, and be continually ready to adapt, learn, and grow. O is for open channels of communication. Now, the open pores in a sponge allow for the flow of water. In a similar way to veins, businesses should establish their own open channels of communication, encouraging the free flow of ideas and information. This is important so we don't become rigid and brittle. N is for nimble filtering. A sponge filters out particles while retaining water. Businesses should be nimble in filtering through large amounts of data to identify what is relevant and valuable for decision-making and strategy formulation. Embracing the sponge and learning, seek out the things where you need the most help. Look for recommendations from other business owners or from annoyingly optimistic podcast creators. G is for grasp opportunities or for growth. Sponges can grow by accumulating more matter. Businesses should be proactive in grasping opportunities that can lead to growth, whether through innovation, expansion, or tapping into new ideas. We can only do this by taking in those new ideas, new challenging thoughts and concepts from others. And then finally, E, evolve and evaluate. Sponges have the ability to regenerate and evolve. Businesses must continue to evaluate their performance, learn from experiences, and evolve to better serve their market and withstand the challenges. So that is literally how you can be more sponge. Soak up information, be pliable, be open, be nimble. Look for growth and evolve. Being sponge, continuing our learning and growth shouldn't be a nice to have concept. It should be the cornerstone of everything we do. Look at it this way. You do your taxes every year because the law says you have to. Imagine if learning each year was a requirement of a business. Imagine what we could achieve if everyone was smarter, more resilient, more creative, more engaged, and constantly growing rather than stiff and stuck. So if your ears are feasting on this podcast, let me tell you, you're already a sponge in the making. But let's not just be an ordinary sponge. Let's be super sponges. We need to absorb, but also filter, evolve, and throw the concepts of stop overboard. This is a call to arms. Sponges don't have arms, but you get the idea. Here's a challenge for you. From me, your borderline intolerable fountain of optimism. Grab this learning baton like you're in the last leg of an Olympic relay race. Do it now, right now. Not one day, not when the stars align, not when you find some time nestled between the cushions on the sofa. I've gone above and beyond the call of sponge duty and have put together a treasure trove for you. Behold a sacred space called worrylessmakemore.co.uk/be more sponge, where my top 12 books bask in glory waiting to be picked by you, my young spudger ones. Each book is like an ancient scroll of knowledge. Choose one, just one, then spend exactly 14 minutes and 12 seconds a day, time it, to chisel a better version of yourself, to break free from the chains of the mundane, and to catapult your life and business into the realm of the extraordinary. Make learning a part of your business. Make being a sponge a part of your business, so you can be more sponge. Well, we're at the end of another fun-filled episode of the Annoyingly Optimistic Show. Here's hoping you found your pot of gold at the end of this rainbow, brimming with insight, inspiration, and ideas to tackle your business dilemmas with a twinkle in your eye and a spring in your step. If you've enjoyed this episode, pass it on. Share the love, leave a review, or reach out and see how we can make your business everything you dreamed it would be. And for a weekly dose of optimism, hop on over to worrylessmakemore.co.uk and sign up for my Worry Less newsletter. Until our next adventure, remember to worry less, make more, and be brilliant.